The third question Urvashi asks is, Sir, what is the meaning of R and P served and paper book not received? She further says, such expression I saw in the court board hanging outside the courtroom. Then I asked an advocate the meaning of it, and then he said, R and P means record and proceedings, and paper book is being prepared by the registry upon the order of the court. But I am not convinced with his answer, as I got confused between the meaning of record and proceedings and the paper book. Okay. Urvashi, you should first thank that advocate who, I would say, guided you very rightly. But still, for the benefit of you and all other young friends of mine here, let me elaborate that once again. You see, in cases which arise out of the quasi-judicial orders of the tribunals or quasi-judicial bodies, or maybe say courts, whenever the courts entertain those petitions, courts invariably order calling for R and P means record and proceedings. The advocate Saab was right in telling you that R and P means record and proceedings. Now you might want to know record and proceedings of what? So let me tell you, it is about calling R and P means record and proceedings of the
case in the
tribunal which disposed of that particular case, or maybe the case is pending, out of which this case in the High Court arose. For example, if the High Court is dealing with an order passed by, say, administrative tribunal, then while entertaining the petition, if there is something in the original record of the administrative tribunal which the High Court itself wants to see and get satisfied, it is possible only by calling for that particular record and proceeding of the original case, either disposed of or pending before the administrative tribunal. Then court orders calling R and P. This terminology is very commonly used in courts. Call R and P. R and P means record and proceedings. Same can happen with regard to other bodies and tribunals. High Court has that power under its superintending jurisdiction under Article 227 of the Constitution of India, or under Article 226 of the Constitution of India, or even otherwise in its own inherent powers, to order calling for record and proceedings of the lower court and to actually see it with its own eyes and get satisfied about the originality of some document, maybe some evidence or any part of the record. That helps the court to arrive at correct decision in the matter at hand. So that is what is the meaning of calling R and P. So, and that is the purpose of calling R and P, as I explained to you. Now coming to the paper book part of your question. See, R and P is what I explained to you just now. Now paper book is something different. Paper book is, say, in an appeal, before the matter is heard finally, I am saying finally, not at admission stage. Whenever the courts admit the matter for final hearing, and before the matter is listed for final hearing, the registry of the High Court prepares a paper book of that case. Now paper book means it contains certain documents like the memorandum of appeal, the copy of the impugned judgments, maybe of lower appellate court and of trial court, the copy of memorandum of appeal before the lower appellate court, the typed or printed copies of the depositions of witnesses. Maybe there are some maps which were important and which were placed before the trial court or the lower appellate court. Maybe there are some other documents which formed part of record. So those important documents which would help the High Court decide the case at hand are compiled together by printing them either in previous days. In olden days, there were no computers. There were only typewriters or printers. Printers at the government printing press. The paper book used to be prepared for the registry of the High Court by the government printing press. All documents used to be sent by the registry of the High Court to the government printing press, and the government printing press used to print those documents and compile them in a bound book and send back to the registry of the High Court so that the registry could place those copies of paper books before the High Court before a matter is listed for final hearing. Now, in those modern days, computers have replaced typewriters. So it is possible now to quickly prepare a paper book with the help of computers, the photocopying machines, and to compile all the important documents in a book like in a bound book, which is called paper book. It is very neatly prepared, stitched, bound, and the pages are numbered, and the adequate number of copies are prepared so that the counsel for parties also get one copy each, and the court gets one copy. So all the parties and the court, when the matter is argued, are on the same page. There is no mistake about mentioning any page number or referring to a page number. The courts do not get confused. The parties do not get confused. All are having the same copy. And that facilitates the hearing process. And that paper book also becomes part of the record of the High Court in the case at hand, so that in future, if the Supreme Court calls for the record and proceedings of the High Court, then that paper book also goes along with it, and the Supreme Court comes to know which documents were perused, examined by the High Court while deciding that case. So I suppose you have understood the difference between R&P and the paper book.